Hello, my name is Connor Wayne Brown, and I haven't yet made the Great American Bigfoot movie.
Ooh, I don't like the yet.
I don't yet either. I don't.
I
I said to
don't.
cut it. I said to take it out.
Yeah. No, you did. I don't take notes.
Connor.
He gives them.
better than
Yeah, he gives them.
How do we usually start it?
We
don't really have a usual way.
we don't. I mean, we say.
Great. This is Indieknot. This is the podcast. Haven't made it yet. I'm here with Hayden Garrett.
No, I'm here with Jannik Garrett.
There it is. In this episode, we're diving deep.
We're deep diving. We're going away from LA.
And this episode is not going to be boring.
Not like the others. You know who you are.
Yeah.
Today we have Connor Wayne Brown. He is one of my dear friends back from high school, and he's now joining the film world from his theater experience. And we go into a little bit of detail on how he got there, why he got there, and where he wants to go. So the show is called Haven't Made It Yet. And so I usually like to ask our guest their first impressions of the show's name, as well as what is making it for you.
Are you insecure about it? Are you trying to workshop it?
We are working
Asking for free ideas here.
It'll never be done.
Yeah, we'll never be done.
Yeah.
Every episode I feel is like slightly different of like, oh yeah, that would be good. That would be good.
I like it. I think haven't made it yet. If you say it right, it almost sounds like haven't made it yet. Like we're all just a bunch of virgins hanging out. No, I like it. I think it's a good play on words, honestly, because none of us are famous at all. No one knows who the fuck we are. And also we are talking about things that we want to make. So it's a nice little double entendre. Good job.
Yeah. The next question being, and then with this specific one, everything else can just be like,
do you want to take another
going with the flow? I mean, none of this is going to be in it, but
cut that.
I'm cutting. Yeah, I'm cutting all mine, all my content.
What do you think of Hayden?
Can't stand him. I was thrilled when he said he was leaving Portland and going down to LA.
Yeah,
and abandoning me.
I'm sending him back.
Oh yeah, because I have no say in it. This is already going to go off the rails.
3 months of turn time on him. So
I've learned enough. Call it. Stop the count.
Take him back.
Stop the count.
Okay, I'm trying to get this back. No, don't be sorry. But what is making it to you?
Well, I grew up in a theater background, so for me, making it is just being able to do it. I never expected to have a career. I never expected to like make enough money to sustain myself ever in like theater or performance or anything. So for me, making it is literally just doing it. As long as I have, the means and the friends and a camera to point at somewhere, something, I feel like I am making it. No matter, even if I have another job, which I do right now, I always expected to have a different thing, if that makes sense, like some support. For me, making it is just being able to do it with my friends. As long as I can do that, I'll be happy. You can cut all of that until that final sentence, I think.
Yeah, right, fuck friends.
That's what I'm here for, right?
It's the reverse of Conan's podcast. Hayden loses a friend.
Yeah, this is it's like a reverse intervention. I'm not coming here because I care about you.
You
He's
feel
saying
bad.
Goodbye.
I'm here to save myself, not you.
I already hate this episode already.
Yeah,
I'm gonna hate
so
editing
bad.
it. I'm gonna hate listening to it. This is a bad idea.
Oh, look, he's got a bed. He's ready.
Mm-hmm.
He's expected to be that bored by your questions, Hayden.
You can't tell listeners, but I'm winking into the camera right now.
I'll let the listeners know that he didn't even wink.
I did it. I did beforehand.
Getting back to it, you said theater background, so some reference for everybody listening. Connor and I, we've known each other, throughout high school, but really like kind of formed our friendship from a related ex, a senior year of high school.
Like you both had the same ex?
we both had the same ex. Yeah, Connor, do you want to kind of go into that?
Yeah, sure. So Hayden and I officially became friends specifically during one rehearsal of Shrek the Musical, which was our senior musical. I was playing Farquaad, and Hayden was in the ensemble. And for some reason, the dance instructor had taken it upon herself to coach my acting performance, which I, obviously had a huge grip on that when I was 18. So I had a certain idea. I wanted to do, for Farquaad, I wanted to just mix Liberace and Hitler and just do those two guys as one character. And I had a thing, and she wasn't vibing with it. So she was trying to coach me to be like meaner and more like angry and like villainous. And I wasn't doing what she needed to.
Not mean enough. We're gonna.
I guess that's, if anyone takes anything out of this episode, it's that Connor Brown is not mean enough. That's how good a person I am.
Oh, he winked that time.
Fuck you, Hayden. But I guess I just wasn't doing what our dance instructor needed. And eventually, after like 3 or 4 tries, Hayden ran up to me unprompted. This is like the first time we've ever really spoken, like one-on-one. And he goes,
You don't have to say her name.
Think about the person. And then
no N-words, please, on the show.
Yeah, and bleep me. And then he just like sprinted back, and I looked at him and went, "Did we just become best friends?" Like some Step Brothers bullshit. And he like nodded, and then I did it, and we kept going. Yeah, and
it worked.
Yeah, after that we started talking. Like, why have we not been friends? Why did it take so long? And we trauma bonded, and we've been friends ever since.
Thank you so much, this person, for being a terrible girlfriend.
Bringing us together. The real soulmates in this scenario.
Have you been mining the trauma ever since, or for your performances?
If you know one thing about Connor Wayne Brown, it's that I'm always mining trauma. If it's not mine, it's yours. No, I don't know. I went to theater background. I did a lot of like acting school and stuff too. We took some insane classes with insane professors who thought they were psychologists. And so it's always about mining that trauma. I know exactly what you mean.
Is this episode going to be called Connor Brown Mines Trauma? Or Makes Trauma?
I hope. No, you don't have the rights.
Funny enough, we already did have a mime on this show. And I was really hoping he would just mime the whole time on a podcast. But
are you telling me he was talking? That's not a real mime.
He was talking, yeah.
Why did you have a mime on a podcast?
He was
neoclassical. It was a very intriguing conversation.
That's almost as stupid as
very one-sided.
That's almost as stupid as the invisible sketch.
Okay. Oh, we'll get to that. But we're running a little
name
bit
drop.
ahead.
Did you see the drop out?
Yeah. So
you're part of the squad, right, Connor? You're part of the.
I am. Me and AOC.
The three amigos that is Pyramid Scheme that pretty much, started my journey to LA. I honestly think I wouldn't be where I am today, truly, if I didn't have the creative outlet that we had in when was that? Was that 2020, 2021?
Yeah, it was It was
exactly. For about a year and we were just kind of popping out short films, really, everything from
just popping them out, like a Mormon family, just popping them out. You can bleep that if you want.
Or I can add laughter if you want that too.
There you go.
Yeah,
let's laugh track. That's how you know it's funny. They tell you that it's funny.
We're gonna record me laughing a couple times at the end, just in case we need to put that back in.
Well, that's why, when one of you guys can't do the podcast, you should just record yourselves doing little snippets. Like, oh, interesting.
When I did Keeping Alive, I did that sometimes because I noticed sometimes I was like completely out of it when I was interviewing people. So I would actually, I would like do a few
Keeping Alive is his last podcast.
I interviewed Connor on that. He was on that.
For the audience, Hayden. Jesus Christ.
Oh yeah, there's other people.
Podcast.
This is just for me.
Yeah, this is just so Hayden can pretend that he has friends.
I do. I don't need to pretend. But I would take my audio tracks of me laughing and I would cut it into the times when I didn't laugh at someone's joke. Just to make it flow better.
That is
Make it
so
sound
funny.
good.
Oh my God. Did you do that to me? You bastard.
No, not at all. If you listen to it, you can see I laughed at all your jokes.
Can
It was
we
very forced. That's why you kept slapping yourself so you could remind yourself. Ha ha ha!
Hayden, can we just right now all record some laughs, and then in the edit maybe you can like make a joke out of it, like by actually pasting it in somewhere?
I think
Like-
we're laughing pretty good. We got some energy on this, but yeah, let's Connor, let's do a couple takes of
That was
laugh.
Hayden, Jannik, that was Hayden saying, "You're totally derailing this with this stupid idea."
Yeah.
I want to
Yeah,
get
I'll
back to
entertain
Connor's
this.
theater background, but yeah, Connor, take a laugh.
No, this is good. Okay, ready? Okay, all right, here's a good one.
Oh, that was good.
That's pretty natural.
I could use that. Okay, Yannick. Okay, wait. That was mine, but
Did I take your laugh?
you
What are
took mine.
saying?
Yeah, you took mine. I gotta think of something else now.
And we'll use these for the other podcasts. We're going to have Connor also laughing in the other podcasts. This is going to be a fourth.
Theater background. Connor, I know you as a friend, that you had a lot of passion, a lot of your energy was wanting to go into theater. You were even pre-pandemic, you fabulously directed a Sweeney Todd. What theater was it?
The Lewiston Civic Theater in Lewiston, Idaho.
Yes. And I went to see it, and honestly, some of the choices that you use are like not scripted in any of what Sweeney Todd is, but like just felt Sweeney Todd it felt like it should have been in the script.
Thanks, man. Damn.
From that theater experience, what is kind of driving you into this film scene, the film background?
The pandemic. I had like 2 paid theater gigs. I was teaching and directing. I was like set up, and my dad was a fucking farmer. It was hammered into me. He supported me doing theater, but he was like, "You will not be able to make this a career. There's no way. Like, it's just, even if you're the best one on earth, there's just like, the odds are insane." So I never expected anything, and here I was pre-pandemic. I was like barely, but just I was subsisting pretty much only on theater stuff. And after everything got shut down, and I realized it would be a lot difficult for years to wrangle 20, 30 people, like a lot of plays require. I was just like, screw this. I loved making movies as a kid and in like high school and middle school with like camcorders and stuff. Why don't I take a shot at this? So I bought a pretty middle of the line DSLR with the stimulus check that I got from the government, and I just started screwing around. I'm also like, I'm a human IMDb. It's disgusting. My idea of fun in high school specifically would be, the only thing I would like scroll through was trivia on IMDb. I would just go one actor down the line. Oh, what's this movie about? Okay, let's read. Okay, I've seen this one. Let's read about it. Okay, next, and then just go down, and it's an endless loop. So I've always loved it, and it just felt like, the next step. Also, during the pandemic, I discovered the beauty of pretentious art films. I discovered foreign films like Russian, Japanese, French. Once I started dipping my toes into that, and I realized that movies could be a lot more than what I was kind of used to, it just blew the doors open, and then it was all I wanted to do.
I don't know you either, so just for my own context, so we were doing like full-time directing plays that you were putting on, or like people were hiring you to direct plays, or you were in plays?
Yeah, so I was getting paid to direct. I directed 2 plays before the pandemic struck, and I was directing both of them, or I was paid to direct both of them, and I was set up to direct a third one, and we were in rehearsals. We made it like 2 or 3 weeks in before everything shut down. And then I was teaching a children's class where I was teaching them acting for a few hours in the evenings. And there were like 20 kids. That was really fun. And then for a little bit too, I was a middle school theater teacher too. I would come in on the afternoons and spend like an hour or two in a theater club at a middle school in the area too. So I had like 3 separate paid gigs doing theater. And I had another job at a bank and a jewelry store after that, during the pandemic.
All method acting.
Yeah.
He didn't actually work there. He just
No.
he was playing a drawer. Yeah.
Researching. I take everything very seriously.
You just built a whole jewelry store on an empty stage somewhere. You just went there at night and, no, we don't have that. We're all
Anything for
out of
You
diamonds.
is based on my life, actually. Or the rehearsal,
The
whatever
rehearsal,
that is.
yeah.
I haven't seen it yet, but I love Nathan.
You'll like it.
You'll love it.
That's it.
So we done?
So nice talking with you, Connor.
All right.
So explain a little bit. I know you have recently started a feature film that you have been, how long has it been with the script?
Yeah, it started as a one-act play for a playwriting class, and then I had an idea of how to kind of expand it into a couple different parts, and yeah, I've been tweaking it for like a year or two, and then I stopped summer of last year, I think.
Yeah, but now you're in the process of actually shooting it. You've shot all of Act 1, and I think the process of you actually going through the pre-production is pretty interesting, because all the actors that you had, you from the connections that from theater, the actors came from some people were from Idaho, some from Portland, some from, was it somewhere in Washington, right?
Yeah, Tacoma. Yeah.
Just explain that kind of process of your pre-production, how you did rehearsals, setting up for the shooting of all of Act 1.
Yeah, so the idea, I guess, is I don't know, I'm super fascinated with like cryptids and myths, and just the human idea that we always have had to tell stories from the beginning of time on. So it's about Bigfoot. It's a 3-act structure. Each one is a kind of a different standalone thing. The first act is just the 3 dudes, kind of based on me and Hayden and Jack going out and on a hiking trip talking about Bigfoot. And then the second act is like a series of faux interviews where people are kind of facing the camera telling firsthand stories, and there's like 10 of those. The third act is a found footage horror style film. It kind of ends in a little bit of a twist, and I don't know, I think it was just my excuse to kind of, my mom read it and she was like, I think you're trying to work some stuff out. This is good. I can tell you're wrestling with some topics here. I was like, thank you,
Mom.
Mother. Yes, it's very nuanced. Yes. Mom. Thank you.
She was genuinely surprised, or
exactly, probably. Yeah, she's not used to me doing good stuff. But
this isn't like your theater stuff, Connor.
It's basically just like a meditation on human nature and belief and faith through the lens of Bigfoot, and specifically about that.
It's from the Bigfoot's POV.
Yeah.
Is it really?
No.
Okay.
No. It's just like through the lens of stories about Bigfoot, it's an examination of things through that. But yeah, Act 1, going back to the theater background, I don't know how to do anything without doing it for 4 months. So I had to have a rehearsal process. Like I can't imagine showing up on set as a director specifically. Actors, I kind of get it. I feel like maybe you could, but as a director, I can't imagine not building it with the people from the beginning. So like I encourage them, like from the get-go, if there's a word in there, I'm the one who wrote it, so I have permission. If there's a word in there that you don't vibe with or you feel like could be changed or anything, change it. Make it yours. Like take ownership and let's build this from the ground up so I try to encourage as much like collaboration as possible, especially actors between directors, and it takes a few months. So we did like 3 or 4 months of Zoom rehearsals every other week or every week or so, and that was really awesome. We got along really well, got to know them a lot, and then when they actually showed up, we had a whole weekend, and we filmed up on Mount Hood, but they were here for like 4 days, and it was like nonstop talking. It was such a vibe.
Yeah, y'all camped at Mount Hood for the whole weekend. The first time all of these people being in this one spot, even though you rehearsed for three months or so on Zoom, but this was the first time they actually collectively were together
in person.
And then of course recording throughout that weekend.
And these were your friends, or these are
Yeah,
People you
so two
cast
of
online.
them I went to school with because after I graduated high school, I started up at Pacific Lutheran University in Tacoma. I reached out to a couple of buddies over there, and one of them was super interested, and he sent the script to a friend of his I'd never met. The friend really liked it, I guess, and asked to be in it. I asked him to record himself, and that was it. I was like, hell yeah. And then the third dude was another guy that I went to school with at U of I after I transferred over there in the theater program. And I just sent it around, and whoever seemed, because I wanted it to be people I know and appreciate and trust, as well as who wanted to do it. I didn't want anyone to feel obligated or like so. You know, if they responded to it, that made me more excited to work with them, just because the whole point of a director really is to like get everyone on the same page and working toward the same thing and just facilitating that. And so that's my big goal anyway.
Okay, so you're through the first act now, and then you're working on the second
Yeah,
act.
yeah, and I don't have a budget or anything really. I'm sending the script to people and kind of going, oh, maybe this summer you want to find a weekend. Maybe we could get together and do this. Maybe we could rehearse a little bit over Zoom for a little bit. And there's like 20 of those that I have to do still. So it's taking me
Yeah.
a while, and I took a break over spooky season and other things. And yeah, after Act One, I was exhausted. I'd never done anything like that. We call ourselves filmmakers, but I mean, I've only ever done like YouTube sketches, so it's a whole different ballgame, and it's so much fun. It's so much more to keep track of. Sound is a nightmare, and it's super fun.
Hmm.
Hmm.
A true labor of love, something
Yeah,
that takes that much patience,
yeah. We'll hope
you
so,
know?
right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, even if it turns out terrible, it's still a labor of love. I mean, you don't do something for free for a year plus shooting it for another year that you're not in love with.
Yeah, I always think that I'm kind of in line with what I was saying about making it or whatever. As long as I am able to still do it, even if it's horrible, I don't really, I'm getting to do it, which
Yeah.
is, I think, all I could ask for, really, realistically.
And I really appreciate that you're doing it. Like one of my biggest fears in my transition in moving to LA, so we had the pyramid scheme, and I was also slated to help DP for be the director of photography for Connor's feature. As much as I knew I needed to go to LA to transition into the kind of work I wanted to do, I didn't want to say no to be a part of this project, as well as we had pyramid scheme. We had 12, I think 4 or 5 already written sketches, but 12 in the pipeline of sketches that we were going to do throughout this year. And by me going to LA, I was saying no to that. And I was worried that you all would kind of lose your steam. And I didn't know how much of Pyramid Scheme was me. I really appreciate seeing that both you and Jack is the other member of Pyramid Scheme, have been creating content and creating art through video and doing beautiful things and progressing. It's really cool to see. It's almost, by me leaving, it allowed me to see you as a videographer, which I don't think we would have saw if I was on this project.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I thank you for leaving then. Thank you. It's great. I'm so happy you're gone.
One of the many perks of Hayden
Yeah.
leaving Oregon forever.
I'm giving myself credit, and I'm waiting. I'm waiting for you
Always.
to give.
Always. Yeah. I don't know,
So,
dude. Pyramid Scheme was like too good to be true. I'll always hope to be able to make dumb shit, especially, but the fact that I could do it with my two best friends to be cheesy, like
yeah,
literally, that it was awesome. It was a dream come true. So
it
I'm
was so
happy we
much
got to do
fun.
it for a year. It was a blast.
With doing Pyramid Scheme, I think with a lot of the projects that Jannik and I are doing, the energy comes from how we developed Pyramid Scheme, because a lot of we just found we found Brody, the guy who develops all of our music, from Jack, and he's composed music. He has like a degree in orchestral music, and he was making music for our stupid videos for free,
Yeah.
and because he just wanted to be a part of this. And it made me realize there's so many people that want to do art for art's sake. It's just being able to navigate and finding these people and putting them together. And I now, I think that's kind of my goal nowadays whenever I'm creating things, of like trying to find people in the right place, giving them as much as we can give them, whether it be food or drinks after a shoot, allowing a space for them to create art. And it's cool. I mean, you're doing the same thing with your projects now.
I mean, all being a director is really, this is what I learned in theater, at least, is just getting the band together for one last tour. You know, it's like getting everyone together and excited about it, and like wanting to like create together, making sure everyone feels safe and like secure and comfortable and creative. It's, once you like doing that with people that want to be there, there's nothing better. I mean, there's literally nothing more gratifying or thrilling than like being the like, you know, the facilitator of it, because that's all you really are.
Yeah, it's kind of like what you guys had with the pyramid scheme. Going back to that, it's like an art collective thing, which is kind of what Hayden and I are trying to do here. And I feel like I've been trying to kind of do my whole film life in one way or another, is like getting having a group of friends around you that you maybe work together with professionally as well in some capacities, but really are you just there to just make stupid things for free and for the fun of it, to keep that side of it alive. Because I don't know how theater is, but in film you can often kind of lose the fun of it and forget why you like to do this kind of stuff, and being able to take the money aspect out of it and the pressure out of it and just laugh and play like a child is really nice. And that's something that's, I feel like, hard to find and motivate people to do naturally, because everybody's so stuck in the like freelancer mindset of everything you do can be, you know, monetized. Why don't we record this? You know, I want to talk to Hayden. He's like, hey, why don't we actually make a podcast out of this? I just wanted to call him once a week, and he's recording it.
Joke in the podcast twice.
Hey, you know what? Not everybody's listening to all the episodes. Every 3 episodes, I'm going to pepper it in there. It's all right.
Don't get it one time.
So it's hard to motivate people to do things for free. So I feel like that's something, obviously, but like a fun thing. Although people want to do it, but that's why I feel like having a collective that's established through our little Indieknot thing, and getting, you know, reaching out to people like you, Connor, and then having kind of a little bit more of a network of people that are really just interested in doing stuff for free and fun, and for their own creative outlet's sake. Because these kind of things, you know, exist as production companies, and that has like a built-in motivator, of course, money, blah, blah, blah. But having like building a group of trusting people that would want to do things for creatively for fun is kind of my goal with this Indieknot thing and what Hayden and I are doing.
And my goal is that it's super cheap, and like, I mean, people are doing our bidding for food. It's pretty good.
Well, you're on a power trip. Can't wait for your PA episode.
Oh yeah.
I feel like every interview with a famous filmmaker, when they are asked like, how do I get into this, man? How do I break in? The like stock response that I've noticed anyway is to just do it, which I think is really cool. I like that idea. It's like, just do it. Like at this point we have, I mean, even just like an old Android could film a movie that could be passable nowadays. Like we have like no excuse. I feel like it's crazy. So, I mean, we do obviously, but you know what I mean? It's like,
this is sponsored by Nike. We do have that sponsorship.
So Connor, explain to me, I mean, it's only been, about 2 years or so of you being in the film world, creating film. How has the transition of having a vast experience in theater and going into film been? Has there been difficulties? Has there been like, oh, this is way easier than it is in theater?
It's all in theater, especially with like bigger productions like Sweeney Todd. There's a lot of delegation, which is really nice. I can assign someone to, or like we have someone to do costumes, to do sound, to do lights, and to like design those and get them done, so that isn't something that I have to do. But like, especially with the budget, which is $0 that I have here, it's a lot to keep track of. So not being able to delegate to anyone when it's just like a run and gun DSLR, you know what I mean? It's just you and an actor or two is fun, because you have to focus on everything, and it can be a little bit overwhelming. But it's helped a lot too, because I like going back to what I was saying about collaboration. That's all it is. And I am so thankful to have that experience with rehearsals and building a character from the ground up, and like breaking down texts. And yeah, that's right, I said texts. And like sitting down, like my favorite types of rehearsals are where we're sitting at a table and we get through like a page and a half of the script, because after like 3 lines, one of them is like, we ask a question and then we talk for 20 minutes about things relating to this, and then we move on again, and then we just like until we get through it all, and we develop inside jokes, and we kind of have a similar standing of what we're trying to say here, what we're trying to do, the goal of it all, the point of it all, whether it is just to make it or not, it's just thrilling. And it's really exciting to be able to facilitate that.
As somebody just entering the film world, what are the things you love and hate about each, if you had to compare them, film and theater?
Oh, theater is annoying because of the people. I was a theater kid in high school, and I was very embarrassed about it the whole time. I tried very hard to be like not one of those theater kids. So I don't know, it's fine, but especially with like small town theaters, who's there is who's there. Like you're not gonna, if the one dude does, like, he's the one who builds the sets, he's the one who's going to build the set. You know what I mean? There's no like creative differences there, which is fine if you like the person. But if there's any possible like drama, which if there's theater, there's a shit ton of drama because it's a drama,
it's drama.
That stereotype is true.
Yeah.
So that's a thing with film. I think in different ways too. Theater is a lot more impressive. That's right, I'm saying this on the film podcast, because you have to do it right one time, and that's it. And you only get one shot per audience. And with film, you could do it as many times as you need to get it right, Stanley Kubrick. So I think that's really cool, because with film, you don't really have an excuse for it to not be exactly the way you want it to be. To have in my background, that little thing carrying all those shoes, if one of those was missing, it would be my fault for not having it set in the shot if I wanted them all there. And I could make it so that it is perfectly in the frame, and that's the way I want it to be. And so you don't have an excuse like you do with theater, which is, there's pluses and minuses of that. There's beauty in the raw, like, craziness in theater if like a set piece falls down or something and they have to improv it out. But with film, you don't have that, which I think is really cool. That's why I really appreciate long takes in film. Like the longer the take, the more impressive it is, because they had to set it up and rehearse it and get it exactly right and get the timing right and get the actors in the spots. And it's just, that's so much more work in my mind than setting up a shot that's still and just having the actors sitting in a chair over there and the camera's not going to move. And you do that 30 times until the actor gets it right or whatever. You know what I mean? That's just, It's so much cooler when you can do it in one.
The longer I'm in film, the less I believe in having control of anything.
What do you mean? I like that.
Because it's obvious what you just said, that film is, that you can have kind of control of that technically. But I was just telling my PA on set that I've literally never been on because she was freaking out because schedule changes, etc. Because it's her first production thing. I've never been on a show where it hasn't been at the end a complete clusterfuck. Like it's never been, hey, you're going to work these days for these amount of hours for this rate with these people. Yeah. 4 weeks pass. That was that. It's always like suddenly week 9 with like half the people, and I'm doing like free days, and it's and then the whole set looks terrible, and there's like a lot of that shoe might not be there because the art guy got fired that morning because he
didn't tell anybody.
He didn't tell anybody, or he just didn't show up.
You have to film that day. Yeah,
you have to film that day because the location that you were going to do got shut down, and you're forced. You have like 30 minutes to prepare this location, and nobody has shoes. People don't even know where the shoes are. The shoes are on some truck 3 hours away on a different farm. So it's like, theoretically everything you can control, but it's just as much chaos. That is, of course, it's on a scale. With theater, I think it's always going to be chaos. But with film, you can just throw more money at it, and eventually you get closer and closer to that full control.
Yeah, and I've never worked on a set. I've never been paid to do film ever. Like I on anything kind of professional level. So I have no idea what it's like to be on a set, a real actual set. I guess I'm just imagining like an auteur filmmaker who has unlimited time and budget or whatever, and can just like, all right, this we're gonna move this a centimeter. All right, then I think we're ready. You know, that kind of thing. So what you guys have experience with and dealing with is so much more real, because that's so rare. What I'm picturing,
and at the same time, it's not. It's very much not real. I honestly think that the most authentic projects that I've worked on have been the projects where we've had little to no money and just trying to make something happen. And like the fact that, I mean, if we use this, I don't know how I'm going to use this shoe analogy because I now
just do it.
Not just do it. Yeah.
There you go.
No, but like it's something that I do actually want to ask you with the theater projects that you've done. With this control that is in film, the larger the project is, so like the stuff that Jannik and I have been doing in these sets, your scope is narrowed to, I do this specific thing. For Jannik and I, in this specific situation in the shoot that we're on now, we're set dressers. So our specific thing is that we move things around in the set to make it look pretty for camera.
The shoes.
For the shoes, then that's where then we move the shoe around so the shoe looks
be our
pretty.
fault. That's why I was defensive.
Your responsibility, yeah.
But I get terribly mad when I see someone in the camera department moving that shoe, even though I just moved that shoe. With your experience in theater, I kind of wanted to see if that's a similar situation of like in film, especially in these larger sets, everybody has their own little pocket of thing. And you stay into it unless you want some beef with somebody. Is that something that you've had to deal with in theater, of like if the actor has a note about the lighting or has a note about the stage design, do you have to stay in your specific field?
Yeah, actors don't get to say it all, in anything technical, especially. They can talk about their performances all they want and like do whatever they want with them, but no, they don't. Nothing that they say with like lights or sound or anything matters. Unless it's like safety reasons or like, you know, I can't see what to get up here, you know, then obviously we'll have to adjust that. But like, I love delegation. I think it's so thrilling, especially in like a tiny budgeted little theater company with no money or resources at all, to have someone sign up and be like, yeah, I'll design the lights for this show for no money that you're directing, that you're passionate about. Sure. And honestly, if I can see the actors on the stage and they kind of I might have like a baseline idea, like I did for Sweeney, like I wanted shadows. So we had like 2 shadow boxes on stage that were we had like silhouettes in them telling the story and stuff. It was really cool. And my lighting designer did that on his own, but he also did a lot of cool stuff, like just without any input from me. And like, honestly, the thought of me like recruiting someone and them like, here, yeah, I'll do this for the show that you're directing and putting together. Anything they give me, I'm going to be like thrilled with, you know, just the idea, especially with no budget and no like resources. It's just such an like a profound honor to be like, yeah, you created this in conjunction with what I had in mind. And this is like now out in the world because of us together. And that's just so fucking exciting. So I think I've finished like 8 sentences by going, that's really exciting.
It's really exciting, though.
It is really exciting.
It is. Yeah, it's really.
But yeah, you know what I mean? It's just like, it's all about, in theater anyway, and I'm sure it's the same on film sets. I don't know. It's delegation in a lot of things, especially when you have no resources.
Yeah.
I love that you're just thankful to have help. I think a lot of the people that annoy me a lot, like indie people, are people that have like expectations for people that they're bringing on for free. I mean, of course, there's like hey, if you say you're going to show up, and I do expect you to show up because, you know, there's things riding on things, but at the same time, it's like you're giving me your time. Yeah,
and it's such an honor to be able to, you know, it's unthinkable, honestly. People are cool. It's the collaboration. It's all, these art forms are collaborative. I mean, you can make a film, I guess, with one person, but it's not going to be like a story. I guess it could be animated. You could totally tell stories with just one person in the movie. You know what I mean?
Where do you want to see yourself in like 10, 15 years?
Realistically, I'd like to be able to continue paying to live
Yeah.
and be able to do things on the side with people I love and trust. I'd love to be able to I have lots of ideas for things I want to make that I think I realistically could. And I'm hoping in 10 years I can still continue to do that. I hope I have a bunch of works under my belt by that point. I want to have at least a few features done. Unrealistically, I'd love to be the best. I want to be regarded, man. I mean, anyone does, but I'm not.
Hayden, this is a great segue for your 10-year question. My favorite question.
Yeah, do you want to, you ask it.
Should I do it? If you had a message for yourself, for yourself in 10 years, once you are wildly regarded, what would that message be?
The pandemic killed my ability to look forward into the future because I have no idea what's going to happen now. So I guess I would just say I'm happy you're still here. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're healthy. And I hope you're getting to continue to make what you're making.
Whole message of gratitude.
Yeah. Life and death. It's all weird.
I want to get into a little bit of...
I set you up there. Yeah.
Oh, yep. Some of the themes behind Pareidolia, your Sasquatch script, as well as the most recent video you put out on YouTube. I'll put a link in the description just because I found the way you use your cinematography, first, also one take, and use your environment, as well as it's just the perfect balance of seeing your style coming into film, because I see a lot of your theatrical elements of like your voiceover, as well as your storytelling through that. And then all of that coming into now a lens that we get to see on YouTube. I'll put the link in the description, but kind of explain that video and the meaning behind it and how that now kind of connecting into the art that you make.
Yeah. My dad passed away a year ago and a year and a week ago. And it was a really difficult situation. It was a pretty awful case of cancer. The decline was really fast, and I just kind of, I don't know, it wasn't like I felt obligated to or anything, but I was like, I gotta make something to, and I've had the idea of just a really gorgeous, simple, like steady frame shot with a voiceover over the top. My idea originally was to recruit friends of mine to just tell stories that have experienced them, that they've experienced that are real, and just record them. And then I'll go out in the world and film like a tree and then put the voiceover over that. But I kind of just took that idea and wrote a little thing about the process and reflections kind of on, I don't know how I was feeling a year after all that. I had it in my head kind of where I wanted to go. I went out to this nature park, and it was a good experience. It was cathartic too. It felt good. Honestly, it feels so good to just make things. I don't think I put like any videos on my own on YouTube yet. Last year and this year I've done like 2 or 3, and it feels amazing. And I hope to do 6 next year and just keep, building. I just filmed, this is off topic, but I just filmed a really stupid, can I tell you the idea that I had for this short film?
Only if we could steal it.
Feel free. You'll have to, I've already filmed it. I just need to do voiceover. It's a single take of a static shot of a kitchen, and it's a dude making a frozen pizza, and he, like, with the oven beeps, like it's ready. He goes in, takes the pizza out, puts it in the oven, sets the timer, and then sits down and is like on his phone and the switch and just hanging out for the entire video. It's like 20 minutes long while the pizza cooks. Then he takes the pizza out, goes, oh, hell yeah, it's perfect, and turns off the oven, and that's the end. But I'm going to add a voiceover that after like 15 minutes of just silence of watching this dude sit in front of the oven, I'm going to put a voiceover in it that's like a British dude explaining how this oven is 8 degrees hotter than it needs to be because of this specific part. And because of that, the pizza is going to be overdone at this moment. And then it's going to be like another 2 or 3 minutes of me just sitting there waiting for the pizza to finish cooking. And it's kind of just the idea that, like, we're following the instructions that we have, but we don't know that we're doing it wrong, and it's out of our control. And it's kind of the comic, I don't know, even when you try to do things right, you still end up.
Well, that's like, is that Alfonso Cuarón?
Oh, Y tu mama también. It is kind of like that. Yeah. Less horny.
but very less horny. More to do with pizza than
Horny for
a
pizza.
three-way.
Yeah. Who isn't?
I loved yeah, when he would just it would just be this voiceover, random guy explaining some random fact about a character or a setting, had nothing to do with the plot. Or
They like pass a car crash, and the voiceover tells us about the guy that died in the car crash that is totally unrelated to the storyline, and then we just go back to the story. It's so cool. Ah, I love that. It's like we're all connected.
where does the passion, you just recently got into kind of this art film, a lot of letterbox reviews. Where does that come from? Have you always felt like you've wanted to have an aspect of being a film critic?
I don't know. It comes from scrolling IMDb. It comes from needing to know. I don't know. I liked being able to like name an actor and name like 8 movies that they were in. I would like constantly. My mom would brag about how she would like name someone, and I'd be like, "Oh, Brad Pitt in this movie," you know what I mean? And it was annoying, but that was kind of my goal. Yeah, well, I'm not a paid critic, so no one's gonna read it thinking like, "Oh, let's learn about whether or not I'm gonna like this movie." I guess I treat Letterboxd as more like a log of every movie I've ever seen, and I just jot down ideas or thoughts that I have with it. And my goal is kind of almost to make it like clinically, like I want to track every single movie I've ever seen from the beginning of time until I die, and just like and track it. And like going through the stats and everything is really cool. I've watched 150 movies this year exactly, and you know, looking at like the number of directors and which countries they're from and all that fun stuff. I just discovered how thrilling it was like this year, and I've been into it since.
I think you're just addicted to stats the way I think most people in our generation are, or at least I am, because I do Letterboxd that way too. I just want to see the movies I've seen.
Yeah.
And then I just say like, I liked it, or like, I didn't
precious.
like or like with like,
dragon.
you know, like running apps or whatever. I just like love seeing a good stat.
Connor, you did a marathon incorporated into Letterboxd.
Yes. Yeah. I set a goal from the first day of autumn, which was the 22nd of September, to Halloween. I was going to watch at least one spooky, scary movie a day. And I ended up watching 61 movies in 39 days, I think. And it was mind numbing, but it was fun. And I started out with like a list of spooky movies that I really liked and wanted to kind of like, you know, oh, I love this one, so I'm going to watch this one. But very quickly, once I started like, okay, I got to watch a movie again today. Which one is it going to be? I gravitated towards ones that I'd already seen, and that was way more fun. Is to just try to, you know, collect them.
Do you have any like a top 3 that stood out to you that you could kind of recommend to our listeners?
Let me look at my list here. Possession, the I think it's Polish, the one that came out in like 81. It is incredible. It's about a woman who may or may not be like possessed and whatnot as her family kind of crumbles. And oh my god, that one was incredible. The camera work, it was made in 81. Yeah, it's Steadicam for most of it, and it's just it was gorgeous and really freaky and really creative. Sam Neill's in it too, which is fun. Young Sam Neill. And then the Night of the Living Dead, the first 3, the ones that all made by George Romero. He made one per decade, and they're each perfect in their own way.
Is there anything you've like learned about, I guess, horror movies throughout the whole thing? Anything you've been like,
no,
okay.
I didn't learn anything.
Come on, you learned something. You picked up something.
I hope so. I don't know. I definitely, I picked movies that I hoped that I would like. Horror movies can be bad if they know that they're bad. Does that make sense? Like I love a good bad movie too, and there were a lot of those.
That's the whole idea with Scream.
Yeah, it's just like it has to have. I realized too. It has to have a purpose. I don't. There was a movie that I didn't like as much because it didn't pack as much of a punch as I hoped it would. Oh, The Funhouse. Tobe Hooper, the guy that made Texas Chainsaw. It's early 80s slasher, just teens in a carnival. It wasn't that great. It was kind of boring, and it was because there wasn't any I don't know, with Texas Chainsaw, the soundtrack is made out of instruments that you would find in like metal and stuff that you would find in a meat packing plant. It was fun. It was mind numbing, but it was also. I mean, I like it because I am so anal with like schedules and whatnot. It was nice to have like okay, got to get this done today, and not have to worry about what I was doing each evening. It's like, okay, getting home from work, what am I doing? Oh, I'm gonna watch a movie. And it was also definitely a distraction for me from the grief and whatnot of kind of revisiting the anniversary of my father's death and everything. So it was a nice. I'd like to think my therapist and I would like to think that it's not. I didn't go overboard, but I probably did. But it was worth it. It was fun.
Well, I was just gonna say that I don't really know you at all, and Hayden just briefly told me about your feature thing. My earlier years, it's a weird thing to say, I was always really judgmental of people like, oh, he's trying to do this on no budget, or he's only done 1/3 or blah blah blah, like, you know, like those kind of like film school annoying people that say that kind of stuff. But these days I'm more like, having tried to make things myself multiple times and having been in film for a while, is the fact that anything is getting done is incredible. Yeah. And I just want to congratulate you on being so committed to getting something done, no matter what it is. And I like your attitude towards the whole thing, and I think you're on a great path. I think you're going to be renowned. It's
art is awesome. The creation is like I don't know. I need it in my life. I have to have some kind of outlet. So I'm so lucky that I've been able to like talk friends into doing stuff with me. Yeah. And I hope that I can continue scamming because it's the funnest, most gratifying thing on earth to do.
It's the best con around.
Yeah. Seriously. That's the only thing the listener should take from this.
This is when we'll add our laugh into it.
Yeah.
I appreciate you coming through, Connor, and saying your spiel. Is there anything, any kind of last thoughts you want to tell the listener?
Follow me on Letterboxd. I think it's just Connor Wayne Brown. I'm one of those pretentious. Yeah, it's Connor W. Brown is my username on Letterboxd. I'm one of those dudes that I in like junior year of high school, I was like, I need a stage name. What can I do that's not just my first and last name? And I was like, I'll add my middle name. And there you are. But it works too because my dad's middle name was Wayne for no other reason other than his parents liked it. And my mom's dad's name is Wayne. So it worked perfectly to have me be named Wayne in some way. And so my dad's middle name is Wayne. My middle name is Wayne. If I ever have a son, his middle name will be Wayne. And his first name will be Bruce.
Are you sure you want your son to be Bruce Wayne?
Bruce Wayne Brown, yeah.
But what about you?
What do you mean? Oh, good point. The pearls will fly, I'm sure.
Well, hey, Connor, you should come through and we'll make a little skit, add to the Indieknot empire, you know?
I love that. We could do something remote too, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. We got a place, we got a little nook in our apartment. If you ever want to come through.
Hell yeah. I was trying to plan a road trip, hopefully maybe for this spring sometime soon. Hell yeah.
Oh, I'm going to be busy spring.
Come on by, but I'm busy.
I don't know. I'll be sick.
I'll be busy for the next few years. Sorry. It's the last time we're going to talk ever.
But yeah, I appreciate this podcast being a thing and people hearing your story, and I can't wait to see what you got. Keep that momentum flowing.
I'm sure you appreciate your podcast being a thing. That's great.
I appreciate people listening to my content, and tune in next week for more my
Brad Pitt will be on the show next week, ladies
and
gentlemen. Brad Pitt.
But we have his nephew's uncle's son.
He hasn't made it yet.
Nepotism's all we need. We just need that nephew.
He hasn't made it yet. No.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Connor.
Thanks, guys.
See you, dude.
That was Connor Wayne Brown. Really appreciate him coming on this show and joining in our massive collection of continuing our YouTube algorithm.
Thank you, Connor, for getting us one video closer to our 30 video algorithm spike. Trying to go from 7 subscribers to 13. Hopefully be there by the end of next year. I really liked I thought he was really positive attitude about doing things for free and just working in like the indie realm. I love that he's very respectful of people's time and stuff like that. Like I said, I'm always really annoyed when people are not like that, and I think those people kind of ruin it for everybody. So I appreciate his positive outlook on just making things.
I really enjoy that he's still doing it. I wanted it to be known, like now we're getting to see Connor in his truest form, because it was going to be Connor and Hayden's point of view, essentially. Yeah. How do you see yourself? Like, do you want to be continuing? Because we're kind of doing something similar. Like we're not like paying actors or whatnot. Where do you want like Indieknot films to be in?
That's a good question.
The shows that we do.
No, I think we should definitely pay people, and I want to do that.
Are you sure?
We're recording, Hayden.
Can we
We're recording?
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. We should pay people.
No, I think we have. I mean, we could talk more about this, make a little plan, but I would love to just push the side of where we make like real projects, like the way you were complaining about on the last short we made, because it's just like a stupid short. We do one branch where we do try to actually make things that we think are cool and festivals, etc. And I think that's where we should raise budgets for. That's where we should pay people for. I mean, I wish we could always pay people, but we're recording. And so that we kind of work on that angle and try to grow that. And in the meantime, I would love to just kind of retain this like improv-y, just goofing around kind of style. Even more loose, I would like to go than what we did the last two, where we kind of wrote it out and we structured it. Like, I think I would like to replace that with a version where we go all out structure, where we really run it like a film set, where we put real money into it and real stakes, real script, everything. And then to kind of counteract that, we just have a really goofy, we just get together, improv, almost iPhone level, quality.
I like that. Like keeping the balance between the two.
Yeah, like I want to like kind of more going back to more of the stuff that I like to do with Jeremiah, and I mean we're kind of figuring out our own kind of comedic bouncing back and forth still. So, but like I'd love to just kind of, and that's the stuff that you did with Pyramid, where it's just like in a space, improv, go. So
it was very much like that. Our scripts were like bullet points and notes that we made that day.
And I think we've been kind of doing something in between, because we're both yearning for like a real thing. Yeah. So that's kind of our things have gotten a little more complicated than I would like them to do. Our like silly videos. Mm-hmm. So I think we make the silly one sillier, and the other one's doper.
Dope.
I mean, what do you think?
No, I'm in a similar way, and my whole thing is like as much as I joke about like not paying people, like I that's what I want to do at the end of the day. Like as much as I want to work with the people I work well with, my friends, and I want to pay them the rate they deserve to be paid for the work they're doing. And so like that's kind of where I want to be in all this. I see these kind of the comedy sketches, little bits that we've been doing. This is like our playground. Yeah. For honing in techniques, whether that be technical or even like finding the kind of common stories that we like sharing. And it beats like it helps it being super low budget, so we can play around with it, and there's less risk involved. And once we get into knowing all of that, that's where once we have something that we put money into, we know the people to talk to, as well as have the money to pay them the right way and make it legitimate, even though like everything that we do at the end of the day, as long as you're doing something, I consider it legitimate. Yeah.
And I don't think I ever want to be like one of those short film YouTube channels or whatever. Like I think YouTube should, with the way I see it, did my cat take a shit on my
Oh my God.
Something's been smelling weird. I thought it was just a fart, but it's kind of wet. Maybe that's me. I think YouTube remains the playground, and then we try to do real stuff with real festivals, real distribution, or whatever. I was also thinking we should, once Connor's done with this thing, we could try to do, just to like grow the community kind of a thing, as well as just trying to get our name a little bit more out there. We could try, if we like it, we could like put money towards getting it into festivals in exchange for having it be an Indieknot production, kind of like an acquisition, like A24 does.
Yeah, totally.
As A24 doesn't make that many things, they just acquire things that they like, that fits their brand, and that's how they've, they're more of they're like halfway distribution company versus like they really churn out material. So, and I think it would help him, and I think that would help maybe build some sort of community, because he's like part of the roster now. And then, he when I see these YouTube channels, some of the comedic YouTube channels that I follow, it's like they're like up to like 15 guys that all have their own thing, but they're all also part of like this clique.
I see
and
that.
I think, building that, I don't care that much about that, like Indieknot is on the thing, but I feel like there needs to be I just want to have it like be a part of a community.
No, I get, like, I mean, the greater the numbers, the higher the probability of viewership rising, I would think. Like, because we all could do the separate thing and we'll all get 30 views on our separate things.
Yeah, like the banner fund, the way we originally were thinking of this, it kind of goes along with that. Like, his thing's cool. We can put a trailer on our thing, we start to do what our original idea for this was to do this, to get other people that we think have cool stuff onto one channel. And then it obviously still all his name. It's his thing. It's his unique thing. We're not putting our names on it at all. It's just like we're just helping push it under this banner.
Yeah, this is the end goal. It's just, chipping away.
We can't waste such a good production company name, such as Indieknot.
And such a good podcast.
And a podcast name.
We got everything going besides the content.